again, it's all, as we've done in the last 4 weeks now, is that we continue to remind you that only go as fast as the slowest parts of you can go. We'll repeat that several times here with these tools. And please don't expect yourself to know how to use all this. It doesn't even matter to me, honestly, that much today. If you remember all these, they're there for you when it's time to think, I think something is here that's missing. And I remember there's some kind of things. Let's go back to this work and these slides and this video and remember, like, oh, I think that would work here. Let's practice that out with myself. So let's get started. So here are some words, and these are words that I've learned and Fiona's learned from our different trainings we've taken over the last 10 years. So most of my experience is in somatic experiencing and sensory motor psychotherapy as well. And Hakomi was I'm just sharing that because you won't see these words online that much. You'll just see that if you take these modalities and you're like, oh, that's the home of these words. And just really important to recognize that just because you don't know the words doesn't mean you're not already practicing them, to be honest. So, and then Safe and Sound Protocol, Stephen Porges, I learned a bunch of this stuff from. So these are tools that are from body-based modalities that we're not accustomed to. So again, I know you can read these, and these are just a few that we're going to talk about today. There are many more that aren't here. But these are a good place to start to practice with yourself. And I highly recommend you play with them with yourself in your sessions, and know that if you choose one and you practice for the next 6 months, your clients will start to think, like, this is different. Like, you do things differently from other people I work with, or I didn't expect this, and this feels right. So you're on the right track if you're getting that from even just one thing. You'll see the slide twice for good reason, because we're trying to loop and remind you that we only want to go as slow or fast as the slowest parts can go with ourselves. So if it feels janky, or if these tools feel like, I didn't quite land, is that maybe we didn't have enough setup, maybe we went too fast. It's totally fine. Don't take yourself or your client where you haven't gone. So, for example, there is a way that nutrition professionals can actually use embodied imagination to help create like a protector that's a healthy, good one in somebody around food or body or being bullied. But that's not something you want to do unless you've had practice at having done it with yourself in your own therapy or supervision. Again, so it can sound really cool to do, but if you're not sure, then practice first. And don't make yourself do it even though you can see the use for it at that moment. Again, don't assume that you can always be present or scan inside your body, because, again, that can be a threat. If a person has so much disorganization in their system from trauma, from chronic stress, and they don't know what is what, any bumping up against sensations sometimes, including hunger and fullness, can feel like a threat. So we can only go maybe from the outside in. So again, the environment, it could just be landing, and that's all they can tolerate. And maybe yourself can tolerate sometimes. Ask permission from yourself, and this is a practice for your clients. Is this okay? In so many words. And do I don't want to go there today? We have permission with ourselves, like, I don't know that I know what's going on with this client. I don't know right now. I'm thinking about my perfectionistic self is saying, oh, they need to do this today. But you might not have the energetic capacity to hold that. So those are some things to be thinking about. Do I have capacity for this? Do they have capacity? And remember that trauma healing, this is not something that's in the slides, but trauma healing does come in 3 phases. And stabilization phase is stage 1, and it takes the longest. It can take years. And there's a book called something that is by Babette Rothschild, and it talks about the 8 keys to trauma recovery. And she was explicit in her work. It's like pretty much every clinician and every client wants to go faster than their systems can go. Nobody wants to witness suffering or feel all the suffering, and so we tend to not give the stabilization phase enough credit, but it's always helpful. Again, create expectancy in your own system, no pressure to do things that you don't feel that you can do, and we don't want to do things out of performance. Okay. Another thing I always mention think about with ourselves and think about how language is important, is use anatomy-specific words. So maybe our clients can't handle the words fat or belly, but they could handle the word diaphragm or ankle or just the microvilli and how your food's moving through. Can you feel that versus can you feel your food moving through your stomach? That might feel way too much. But if you happen to know some physiology jargon that you feel would be less threatening for them, then use that. And again, we provide this, but always feel free to use these resources like somatic words and sensory words, because sometimes people can't identify what the sensation is or how they feel. They're feeling something, it feels like a threat, or they don't know if it's a threat and they need some language, and that's something we can offer as well. Those are resources. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of some of these words. So the first one is going to be resourcing again, and it's just anything that brings a sense of okay or good. So when you hear the word resource, what do they mean by that? And I mean, the list is so long, it's not talk aboutable today. It's anything that we feel inside or outside. And so Pat Ogden talks about it can be relationships, services, connection, anything that helps us differentiate between what's happening now and what's happening in our environment, whether it's inside or outside. But we want it to be good or okay. And remember that sometimes people don't feel okay. And I know that we all hopefully have enough ego strength to recognize that even though our clients like us, they think we're nice or kind, they might not trust us. So that might take a while. And maybe we're just okay for a while until we get good with them. So other resources will be our somatic ones, of course. So how our bodies function. Maybe we don't feel safe with a body's ability to carry a baby because that comes with weight gain and that feels like a threat, but we could be okay with the fact that we don't have to control our urinary response per hour kind of stuff. And speaking in those terms can help our clients. Again, our senses are our resources so that we can hear things and see things and smell things and taste and touch. Those are resources. And movement, so we can help our clients recognize that our body's ability to, if we have that able-bodiedness, to be able, to push a chair when it feels too close, reach for something, grasp, pull, let go. These are, the possibilities are endless of what resources are. So it's not just a simple self-care list of bubble baths and texting our friends, which are really important, but it could just be nature. Maybe nature and looking out a client's window as they eat is their best resource because it doesn't feel like a threat. There's enough of a buffer, like with the window, to not feel like something can get me, but we can enjoy the breeze by seeing it, maybe hearing it, maybe smelling it, who knows. But again, our resourcing is always limited to ours and our client's imagination of what might be helpful. So. All right, so more resourcing is our language. And I know Fiona is an awesome stickler for language, and so I forced myself to think about what are some terms that I use in session, what are some things that she uses, and these speak to the body system. This speaks to the limbic system, which gets social engagement going. It speaks to basically it's contacting language. We're trying to contact what the sensations might feel like and what they are, and kind of trying to avoid that bigger prefrontal cortex that our client's brain sometimes. We want to understand how everything works before we'll feel it versus can you feel or sense what is happening and me be here with you at the same time. So here's some phrases. I'm going to read some of these. And I want you all to just to notice, you don't have to make comments, but you can in the chat if you like. When I phrase these, what you notice inside happens. There may be enough space for you and I here right now. And this might come up when a client says, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if they'll listen to me. Like, I feel like when I say what I need with body acceptance, I'm just taking up too much space and nobody cares. And so we could say, well, there may be enough space for you and I together here with that topic right now. And how, so you notice what lands in you and what happens in their system when you say these things. So another tool would be titration. And when you're asking people, again, where they're sitting, how the conversation is, maybe how even close they have the plate to, like, let's say you're doing a meal session and